Welcome back. More signs that Europe is tilting more conservative. While the center, liberal and socialist parties are set to retain a majority in the 720-seat European Parliament, the farther right parties have made significant gains. And Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz's Social Democrats fell to third place, behind mainstream conservatives and the harder right Alternative for Germany. And in France, Marine Le Pen's rightist National Rally defeated Emmanuel Macron's Renaissance Party, forcing the French president to call for snap parliamentary elections within the country. What does this mean for Europe on the global stage and possibly for your investments as well? Let's bring in Fred Kempe, CEO of the Atlantic Council, and Malcolm Dorson, head of emerging markets at Global X. Welcome to both of you. And Fred, let's start with you and kind of the big picture here. What does it all mean?
Well, first of all, it means that the center is held, and that's good news for investors. Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the European Commission, has a good chance of coming back in. That probably means that you're going to have a regulatory atmosphere that's not as strong as it has been over the last 10 years. So a little bit more pro-business, a little bit less pro-regulation. You can see some weakness in the euro, however, because of the problems. The winner is the center, the loser is Macron, and Macron got half the vote of the National Rally, Le Pen's party. He's called new elections. And to me, that's the biggest story of these elections is will Macron's gamble pay off? And a lot of people, even within his own party, feel the gamble is irresponsible as was David Cameron's gamble in 2016 when he took Brexit to the election, took it to a referendum, believing he was going to win that referendum. And in the end, he lost, and history is paying for it even now.
So if we look at this from the point of view not of whether Macron made the right decision for himself, but what are the French telling us about what direction they want the country to go in, what is the conclusion there?
So I talked to a couple of French political leaders today, one of them in Macron's party, and he says it's definitely about immigration. The Le Pen candidate said you cannot recognize France, and that's a very almost racist, but certainly an anti-immigration theme. Also, the country's feeling more distant from Paris, from the center. And Macron is not a popular leader, and he's certainly not popular around the countryside. So these are all the things driving it. And a call for a new election is Macron gambling that people can cast a protest vote for a European election, which really doesn't make much difference nationally. But they won't cast a protest vote for a pro-Russian, nationalist, anti-European party. When it comes to the end of this month, they'll vote for me instead. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people in his own party don't believe that's going to be the case. They don't think that the far right is going to win an absolute majority, but they think they could well win enough to take the prime ministership in coalition with one or two other parties.
What would the knock-on effect of all of that be, whether it's France or other countries tilting more towards the right in a conservative direction and a more nationalist direction, whatever you want to call it, for the Russia-Ukraine war?
Well, the most immediate knock-on effect is going to be the euro. The euro will weaken. There's already a divergence in interest rate policies between the Fed and the ECB. And whenever there are questions about the unity of the European Union going forward, the euro weakens, and we're already seeing that. In terms of Ukraine policy, the president is in charge for the time being, Macron, and will be until 2027. So I don't think you'll see anything immediately there. You're also seeing a weakening of Orban in Hungary through these elections, and so that actually could be helpful in terms of Ukraine policy. So I think there's no short-run or even medium-term shift in foreign policy. I think you're looking more for the euro now, and then longer-term, this trajectory of Le Pen growing means when Macron is leaving office in 2027, he's gambling that 3 years in office of the Le Pen party will show how incompetent they are, and then everyone will come flocking back to Macron's party. But it could turn out the other way around, that they might do all right in office. And 2027, with Macron as unpopular as he is, he won't be elected. And then the question is, can the center-left be elected, or will this be the first time ever that a far-right party, an anti-Europe, pro-Russian party, takes over in charge of France?
Fascinating.
The second largest economy in Europe, by the way.
Right. No, and for translating all of that as well, Fred, we always appreciate it. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Fred Kempe with the Atlantic Council. Let's turn now to the investing side of things with Malcolm Dorson. He is head of emerging markets at Global X. He recently changed some positions following this elections over in Mexico and India. And now, Malcolm, we can ask you about the fallout from these potential European elections. What are you thinking?
Sure, and thanks for having me, Kelly. Well, big picture, the conversations that we've been having this morning have shown that though we're seeing that potentially the center has retained power, there is a lot more uncertainty happening in Europe right now. And over the past decade, we've seen allocators really benefiting from U.S. exceptionalism and having their international allocation more in developed market Europe. And now people are taking a pause, and we're seeing various allocators reassess their international allocations and looking deeper and harder at emerging markets.